What is up, people? It is MewMonster58 and welcome to another video review. Today we're going to be doing a video review on the Transformers Studio Series 86 from Transformers the movie Commander Class Ultra Magnus. This is going to be a hefty review. I think I have like 10 figures with me to actually compare because finally guys, I'm getting my collection finally together. It's getting set up. Actually, after I film this review, I'm going to be reorganizing a ton of the displays so that we'll be able to more easily just pick out figures from the display so I can do some comparisons. But enough about me. Let's take a look at the box art here. And I got to say that the box looks fantastic. I mean, some amazing artwork there of Ultra Magnus. As you can see, Transformers the movie, Studio Series 86, Ultra Magnus, the Hasbro logo, the Transformers logo, and a very nice scene of, I believe, an Autobot City, I believe this is. That's supposed to where the scene's supposed to be replicated, and obviously some very nice artwork of the boy himself, the thick boy, Ultra Magnus. On the top here, just some more nice artwork from Transformers the movie. On the side here, we got some more nice artwork of Ultra Magnus's face and a little bit of his upper body. Studio Series again, 86. Spin around here to the other side, some more nice artwork of the artwork on the front, and then finally we have our obligatory product shots of the big Ultra Magnus. And so there's not else too much about the box, and you guys probably want to just see the figure. So at this point, let's get this guy out here. All right, guys, this is an Ultra Magnus, but this is the display base. Obviously, I know I said I'll get him out here, but we got to talk about the display base first because this is something I don't normally do because I don't care for it, and in a review, I probably should end up actually talking about these display bases at the very least, and show them around just in case you guys want to use them. But because this is a Commander class figure and this is Ultra Magnus, a figure I've been looking forward to, let's show off absolutely everything. And so first thing we got here is obviously the display base, and as you can see, it's very nice. I'll sort of spread it out here a bit more so you guys can sort of get a more thorough picture of what it's supposed to look like. Very cool. Again, pretty much the scene that we see on the front of the box, which is on the ground or on the floor right next to me. You obviously see very nice Transformers, the movie right there, the title right there. And I mean, it looks great. I mean, I don't have any personal want to use this. Obviously, you guys have the ability to use it if you want. I'm personally not going to, but it's definitely a cool scene. And I think that the Hasbro team who does the artwork on these things, whether it's the boxes, whether it's the instructions and stuff like that, for the most part, they always kill it. And this is no exception. So, enough about the display base. Time for Big Ultra Magnus himself. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus in his absolutely fantastic looking car carrier mode. And I gotta say that there is no comparison with this. I'm going to say immediately off the bat with this in the Kingdom and the Siege molds. This is just beyond them in every single way. And this is pretty much as accurate on screen to what we saw with Ultra Magnus in his vehicle form as you could possibly get. And I'm going to say that for the whole figure. I personally think that on screen there's no comparison between this and any of the previous Ultra Magnus figures that we've gotten. And I think that includes the Masterpiece version. But obviously that's been a long time release. But for modern release, this is brilliant. I mean, it looks great. I mean, you can see here, taking a look, you can see all of this nice detail with the cab here. Very much obviously inspired by the Optimus cab, but you can see you got the silver paint for the wheels there on the bottom. You got some more silver paint here for these rims, and then got some more for the black, dark gray paint for the rims, for the wheels, and the tires. You have some nice Autobot logos both here as well as on the top of the trailer mode as well. And now this is one issue I'll talk about because it's prevailing right now, is that this part here, so you can actually very easily, it's not going to do it now, is it there? You can very easily remove the cab section from the actual trailer part of the truck, but unfortunately my joint here, so this joint here, this peg isn't super tight. And so when you have this guy in here, sometimes when you just pick it up, it'll just kind of fall out, depending on, yeah, especially if you have it on the loose side, this is how it's supposed to be for the vehicle mode. You're supposed to extend this, and I'll show that when we do the reverse transformation here. But overall, I mean, it looks great. You can see, again, there's an Autobot logo up there. Very nice blue paint, very nice white, very nice molded in detail. You can see all of this cool molded in detail there in the trailer. Very cool there, and more on top as well, which will translate to his robot mode. Swing here on the back, you can obviously see he also doesn't hold the get together the best. The tabs up here also don't hold up together the best, but from a look standpoint, even for the most part, from a functional standpoint, this is a brilliant figure in pretty much every single facet of the imagination. Really, really cool. So, one thing I also go ahead and show off here is that he comes with a bunch of accessories, well, a good amount of them. So he comes with his standard gun here. This is very cool. This is like the one that you see him with the most. Very nicely painted in this gorgeous silver, white handles. Very nice molded detail. I mean, you can see all that gorgeous molded in detail. Overall, really, really nicely done. Same thing for this one. He has another gun, just a smaller one, but still same level of detail, same level of paint. Very, very nicely done on this one. And then finally, he does come with a set of blast effects. So you can obviously just take these apart. And then you can, you have 5mm ports like here as well. And so you can just plug those on, and then obviously the guns are also 5mm compatible, so you have these little clear pegs right here, as you can see, and then you have these little holes here in the center, and then you can just obviously make it look like Ultra Magnus is firing something. So really cool there. But this isn't too much different from like the Omega Supreme or the Skyfire slash Jetfire ones that we got for those. But it's very nice that they add these, because these can really add to a display, and I think it's very, very nice that Hasbro still adds these in, especially for something of this price point. So getting those all off to the side, those are his major accessories, but obviously being a car carrier, let's show off a little bit of a gimmick. So on the back here, you can see that these will eventually become his shins, but what's really cool is they also double as the trailer. So to bring in a couple figures here, let's bring in, I got Studio Series 86 Ironhide, and we've also got Studio Series 86 Jazz. So to just bring these guys in, you can obviously roll this guy in, and you can see on the bottom, it does a little bit of a squeeze, but Ironhide fits relatively nicely, and then you can obviously put Jazz here on the top as well. You could realistically, like if I push Ironhide all the way here to the front of the cab, like towards the front, you could probably fit another car bot right here. It would be a bit of a tight, maybe a mini bot would be better. But you can fit probably two Autobot cars on top of this and two inside. I'd say if you're going to do Ironhide, you would probably just do a mini bot, but you could do like two Jazzes in here, and then you could obviously do like Ironhide and someone else. But yeah, you can fulfill that car carrier mode, which is really freaking cool, and I really do enjoy that they added this feature in, and that they molded, as I showed you earlier, they molded the like tire treads in here to sort of give you the inclination that, yeah, this is meant to be used as a car carrier, as that's what Ultra Magnus is. So getting these guys off to the side, we'll actually bring these guys back in for the review later for robot mode comparison, but just to get these guys out, you can do that, and then obviously you can just close this back up very simply, like so. And then for these missiles, these are also accessories, so you can actually remove the missiles themselves from these, which is really, really cool. And then these just peg in here via these 5mm pegs. You can see those right there. And then you have a hole right there, and you can just go yoink, and then just do this. And obviously, if you want to make it look like he's firing, if you have like a small like stand that could hold like this missile, you can obviously like take one of the blast effects. Like I have a spare one that he included, and you can just plug that in. It's like, oh yeah, he's firing it. That's cool, right? You have options, and it's nice that you always have options, and I think that's always a joy that you will have options. So some really, really good stuff there. So that's about it for the vehicle mode. Very well done. It's just, for me, it's just this top section doesn't like to hold in very well, and sometimes this back section doesn't like to squeeze in, and obviously this part likes to fall off a bit when you have it. If you like pick it up like this and you kind of shake it, yeah, you can see it falls off. But other than those, honestly, like, I can definitely see someone being a bit more angry with that. Like, that's a fact. And I get that. I respect that opinion. But I don't personally think it's that big of a deal, especially because I'm going to be having this guy in robot mode for the most part. But again, that is definitely a valid complaint that you would have for it. If you guys have any similar issues with yours, I would love to hear them in the comment section below, just to see if I can sort of cross-reference, is this a widespread issue that this figure has. But without further ado, let's get into vehicle mode comparisons. And so it's going to be a little bit of a squeeze, but we're going to set Ultra Magnus here off to the side. As I sort of showed you earlier, here is the comparison between Ironhide and Studio Series 86 Jazz, Voyager class Ironhide, Deluxe class Studio Series 86 Jazz, and Ultra Magnus, as you can see, there's a massive size difference. Like this, I do really think that this guy commands, yeah, pun. I do really think this guy commands that, commander price point. I do think he is worth the money that you are paying for this guy, because I think that all the engineering that goes into this guy's heavy, by the way. He's genuinely very heavy. And so very well done. And I think that this size is perfect because again, Ultra Magnus is meant to be a car carrier, and so to be able to actually be able to carry the Deluxe and Voyager figures, or at least some of them, you have to be big enough to do that, and Magnus fulfills that role, and the scaling works fine for me. And if you want a real comparison, Jazz, keep in mind that he's pretty much the same size as any of the Earthrise, the Legacy, the Siege cars. He's pretty much the same size as all of them, and so you can compare them to Jazz, and as Jazz fits, pretty much all of them will fit as well. So some really good stuff here, and I do like the scaling. Another bit of a comparison that we have here is Studio Series 86 Leader Class Grimlock in his dinosaur mode, in his T-Rex mode. This scales really nicely. I think this is really, really good, and overall, I think these guys look great together. I'm not going to have these two displayed necessarily alongside of each other in the same shelf, but for me, that this really works, and I'm very, very happy with the scaling again. And finally, for one more comparison here, we have the Siege Ultra Magnus. And the reason I have the Siege one is because I never bothered getting the Kingdom one. I think it was like either I didn't have the money at the time or I just didn't want to spend the money because it was another $60 and I had just bought this guy, the Siege one. And or it was a different reason, and I can't remember why, but all I remember is that I never got the Kingdom version. And so we do have the Siege version, but this just blows it out of the water. I'm sorry, the Studio Series version is infinitely better than the Kingdom version or the Siege version for that matter. And so when it comes to these, it's actually kind of funny that their sizes really aren't that different. So if I'm setting them here like this, you can definitely see that there's actually not that much of a size difference between these guys. I mean, yeah, I mean, look at that. Like, if I push this guy all the way to the edge where the back of the Studio Series version, he's just about a cab longer. And yeah, you might be like, oh, they're squandering and they're cheaping out on us, right? For the Commander price point for the Studio Series version. But I trust me, they're not. I really want to show that to you, especially when it comes to the transformation, as well as when we finally get to robot mode and how much this guy improves over the Siege as well as the Kingdom versions. But that's about it, really, for the comparisons. That's all I really wanted to do. But again, this guy just blows this figure and the Kingdom one, in my opinion, out of the water. So, yeah. Alright, now that we've gone through pretty much everything that the vehicle mode has to offer, let's go over the transformation. And this is where this figure does a lot of awesome stuff. It's pretty intricate and complex, but it's not frustrating. Like, once you've done this like 3 or 4 times, I think I did this like 2 or 3 times, you get used to it, and it's a pretty simple transformation. Now, I'll immediately apologize for this falling off. I don't intentionally mean it to fall off. It's just, again, obviously that little issue that I had that I mentioned earlier. But let's get into it. So first things first, take the shoulder missiles, and you like to remove these, or what will become his shoulder missiles. Just remove these, set them off to the side, wherever you feel is appropriate. Then after this, what I like to do is untab what will become his arms here on the back, and then you see these two little blue pieces here. There's one on each side. You just slide them back, and then you can rotate them down. Same thing on this side. So if I flip this guy around, you can just slide this guy back and then fold it down so that it's flush along this side. Then what else I like to do is sort of take this section and just lift it up. And then what you can do is take this entire section here. So basically what you'll see, I was going to rotate those, but I forgot. So you have these two panels here. What I like to do is fold these down like this. Then you can essentially take these sections here on the side. So there's two. So fold once, then fold again like that. Do the same thing on this side. Fold once, then fold again. And then what I like to do here, so you snap those down, and then what you do is you take this entire section, you can split it, and then rotate them down like that. Whoops, well, that guy got caught. Rotate them down like that. And essentially you have what is the entire lower body for the most part transformed. The last part to do with the legs, very, very simple. Well, a couple things. Take this section. So what you'll notice is this knee joint here. It's on an accordion. It's kind of similar to the Studio Series 86 Studio Series movie Grimlock, Age of Extinction Grimlock. So you rotate this out, and what you can see is there's like a little tab in there, and you just have to rotate the entire knee joint so that it fits into place. And then you can see there's a significant difference between the actual leg and the not extended leg joint. So again, do that same thing here. So take this, you just gotta rotate it back, what I like to do. Then you push from the back, and then you push towards, like, downwards with this hand while you're rotating it. So you get something like that, and there you go. You basically have the entire lower body of Ultra Magnus transformed, besides these wheels. The last thing to do is for these wheels, you can... Actually, they're kind of already transformed, but you can sort of accordion them up like this. And I like to do the same thing on this side, and you just have them accordion like this. You can have them however you like. I know the official transformation has something maybe a slightly different, but for the most part, that's how I like to do it. Then next thing to do, take this section and split it. Take the waist section and fold it down. Then if you want to, take this entire section and rotate it around and leave it like so. And then all you got to do here, very, very cool stuff. So sort of rotate these all the way out. Then you can take this cab section, untab this section, and then what you'll notice is it's going to fold like this. So fold this back down like so, fold the wheels in like so, and then you can fold this all the way around like this. Now this is some really cool stuff. Then take the cab and you can split the panels here like so, like this. Fold the smokestacks inward so that they're lined up like this. So they're lined up like this. Then after this, you can take this entire section and fold it down, what will become his chest. Then come around here on the back, fold these wheels in. Now what you can see here is there's his head. So what I like to do is rotate his head down, and then you can take this panel here and then push it in. Then rotate this section down, and then what you'll notice is here on the top, I'm going to hold this together. You can see that that's where that panel was where you folded it in. So you just fold this back in like so. It's a little bit a little tricky there. Like there, like that. Just make sure this is all lined up like this. And you can fold these down. Then you take this entire section and you can essentially rotate it backward. Ooh, there goes his head. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. All right, back to where we were. So essentially what you're going to do is feed Magnus's head through this hole. Yeah, it's a great choice of words, isn't it? Then fold this back down, and essentially this whole thing will just snap into place. So just give it a push, and it'll lock into place, and all this will be fine and dandy. Then take this section, rotate the chest all the way down. Sorry, my camera is a bit low there. It's my fault. Take the section all the way down. And essentially what will happen is you can see these two tabs, and you can see the two holes there. You just gotta snap those into place. Then last thing to do here is to fold these sections in. Then after this, to do the arms, very simple. Fold this in once again, then fold this in like so. Take this little panel here on the top, fold it on the side, rotate the arm all the way up, rotate it all the way around like this, so the Autobot logo is facing the front. Same thing here. Fold, fold, and fold. Fold this panel down. Rotate it all the way up. Rotate all the way to the front like this. Then finally, for the robot, you have these little sections here. Fold them down. Essentially what you'll see is that there's a hole right there, and then that there's a tab right there. Just got to fold them in on either side like that to lock them into place. Then finally, the last thing to do for the arms is very, very simple. Fold this out. So fold this out, accordion it up like this. Snap that back into place. Same thing here. Up here, accordion it up. Rotate that back into place. Gonna adjust my camera a bit here in a second. But ladies and gentlemen, here we have Ultra Magnus in his absolutely fantastic looking robot mode. And to sort of complete the look, take these shoulder cannons, and all you got to do is shoulder missiles and just plug them on however you see fit. You can then take his gun. Very, very simple. Whatever gun, I just like having him hold this, and then you can take that and just plug that right in. And this guy is amazing, guys. Like this is in my opinion, the definitive Ultra Magnus, and it's just great. The paintwork, the detail, how this guy feels and looks, he's very heavy. And his functionality for the most part is also very, very good. All around, an absolutely brilliantly done figure, and I really love how it's not parts forming. Now, I'm indifferent about parts forming. Sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can obviously uh, detract from the idea of a transformer, but at the same time, I just love how this Ultra Magnus doesn't need to have a ton of extra parts that you throw onto him after you have a little bit of an Optimus like mini bot, and then that becomes the Magnus by putting a bunch of parts onto him. As any transformer should be, stay in one piece, transform from robot to whatever without actually having to parts form. And I absolutely love this guy all around. So taking a quick look at all these awesome details. So look at the head, and you can see I have my computer is off to the side over there. You can see the light piping on this guy, and if you turn around here to the head, you can see the massive, absolutely massive amount of light piping that this guy actually has, and it's really, really cool. Also, look at the chest here. You can see all that detail there. Very, very well done. Down here to the crotch section, very nice. Then you have some more detail here with the legs, everything here. Turning around to the side, you can see even more detail here from the bottom, going to the side here, up to the top. And again, this guy's heavy. Like, my arm is genuinely hurting from having to hold this guy up. But all around, you can see very, again, nice Autobot logo there. And switch around here to the back, there's literally nothing. I mean, this is the extent of the backpack, and there's literally nothing. You can see there is such a flat back to this guy, and they outdid themselves, in my opinion, with the engineering of this guy. Not that the engineering is not without faults. Couple things here. QC, one thing I noticed is when I kind of hold mine, you can see my right leg is kind of loose. They're soft ratchets, but you can see like me waving it around. He kind of, yeah, it's a bit of there. That's a better way to show it. It's not as solid as I'd like it to be. But other than that, that's the only really major QC issue that I will personally have with this figure. Again, really, really good stuff. Fantastic figure all around, and I'm in love with this guy. So, one thing to address, we are going to actually address that in the next section here, which is going to be doing comparisons, right? And so, just adjusting this guy a little bit, I'm going to set him off to the side because we are going to pretty much get everybody in here, and I can't wait to do that. So, setting him off to the side. First, we got a pretty hefty comparison here. We have him alongside the Kingdom Galvatron, the Leader Class Galvatron. These guys look great together. I think Ultra Magnus should be bigger than Galvatron. That's what I'm going to address when we get to the end of the comparison section, because that's a lot of contention right now on social media about this guy. But I do think that they look great together, and I think that this is a really nice scale between them. Next up, here we have him with the Commander class Rodimus Prime. These two look great together, in my opinion. I don't think that this scale is too far off. Here he is with Wreck-Gar. Here he is with the Voyager class Siege Springer. Here he is with Blur RC and Cup. And here he is with Studio Series 86 Leader class Grimlock. And if you want the full team shot, here we do have the full OG team shot from the 86 movie. Ultra Magnus, Springer, RC, Blur, Cup, and Rodimus Prime. And these guys all look fantastic together. This is the crew that I'm going to be primarily displaying with. Obviously, the Junkions are going to be included in that. But yeah, this is the crew. Now, this is also where we're going to have a bit of a discussion. And I'm not going to try and make this too long. But let's talk about the scale. Because obviously Studio Series is really meant to scale with each other, especially the 86 movie, right? And there's been a lot of contention on social media that talks about whether this guy is too big or not, Ultra Magnus. And I gotta say, he is a tad big. I think he is a bit bigger than he necessarily should be. I'll throw up some screenshots from the cartoon right now as we discuss this, so you guys can draw your own conclusions. But this is, in my opinion, still far and away the best Ultra Magnus we've ever gotten. And the reason I say that the scale, I'm not too not too much of a stickler about it. Keep in mind, I tend to be a big stickler for scale. If a figure's too out of scale, I usually will never ever buy it in comparison to whether I'm collecting like a line or a team like this. However, this Ultra Magnus is scaled to the point where it's not unbelievable. Like, he's still big, right? and it's still a tad bit too big, but it's not so big, in comparison to his other fellow Autobots here, that I'm in disbelief that this is not how actually Ultra Magnus would scale. Now I know that everyone's quoting that Sunbeam chart, and I get that that's the original intention for the design, as that's how the animators were supposed to follow their scale. But also let's keep in mind that the scale for the cartoon was never ever accurate or consistent, because it was the 80s and they were trying to churn out cartoons, just as fast as they could. And so there's a lot of animation errors. Like a lot of the time we see there's scenes with a couple star screams. Optimus Prime has no face plate on. You get the picture. So at the end of the day, even though I know that that's the animator's fault and that's not the direct fault of the scale, right? That's what I saw in the cartoon. At the end of the day, I am not angry with the scale of Ultra Magnus here. I think he scales perfectly fine with the rest of his fellow Autobots. And again, it's not like, I said this on Twitter, it's not like we have Masterpiece Ultra Magnus and Earthrise Optimus Prime as the scale. No, this is just an Ultra Magnus that's a bit bigger than he should probably be, but he's not so big to the point where this scale puts me in disbelief. And honestly, this is kind of how I prefer my 86 display, with Ultra Magnus kind of towering over everybody. Now, obviously, there's the contention of whether he should be bigger than the Dinobots. And in my opinion, he shouldn't. He should probably be eye to eye with them. But I am not mad that he necessarily is. Again, the scale is not so bad that it puts me in disbelief. So I don't want to open more of a can of worms than I already have, but if you guys have any other thoughts about his scale, I'd love to hear it in the comment section below. Please be nice to each other and foster good discussion and not trying to attack each other. I just hated how people were attacking each other over this figure's scale. Like, we don't need to attack each other. Of course, you can feel free to disagree, but let's not get in such a tizzy about the scale of a freaking action figure that's really meant for kids. Like, come on, guys, let's be a little bit more adults here, all right? So at the end of the day, to each their own, but my personal opinion is I love the scale of this guy. The absolutely last comparison we're going to do is the Studio Series 86 Magnus compared to his Siege/Kingdom counterpart, and there's no contest. This guy absolutely blows this one out of the water. Like, there's no comparison of whether who's better or not. If you have the money, if you really want to get the definitive Magnus, this is the one. This guy right here, not this guy. I'm thinking of ending up selling this guy at some point, so we'll see what happens. But this was the Magnus I had in my collection for a long time over these past few years, and well, this guy is kind of useless now. So if you have this and you don't have the money, obviously this is your best bet. But if you do eventually get the money, pick this guy up. And so with all that out of the way, let's get into some gimmicks and accessories. So first off, when it comes to his guns, you can just take them off. They will also store. So the big one will store on his butt flap here. So he has this tab hole here, and he has the tab on the gun, and then you can just very easily place that like so. Come on, line it up. Line it up, line it up. There we go. And then you can take his smaller gun, and then you have another tab right here, and then you can just do this like so, and you can have his storage, and then obviously you can plug in the blast effects wherever you feel like you would like to. But finally, the last thing I'll show is the I Fell Apart gimmick, kind of similar to how Cup did his, but it's a bit more robust just due to the fact that this guy is a commander class figure. So, essentially what you have to do is if you flip this up here, his arm, oh yeah, sorry about that. Basically, rotate it back. I always think it's front. That's my fault, guys. Rotate it back, and what you'll see here, you'll notice that there is this red tab here, and what you got to do is you got to pull it, and then just pull this front to the front, and then you can just completely remove his arm on some Combiner Wars style joints. So you can see that here, or the Combiner style joints in general. But yeah, you can just remove that, and then you can just have his disembodied arm, and then you can do the same here, obviously. So again, just rotate this around, and then just take this red piece, and then just pull it, and then pull the arm forward, and then you can just release the arm, obviously. And then the other thing that you can do, so for the legs here, it's very similar. So you have the red tab here, and then you just kind of pull on it, and then pull the leg out, like so. And then you can do the same here, is just pull this and then pull the leg out like that. And now you can have, disembodied Ultra Magnus. So yeah, you can do that, and it's cool that they included it. Bring my camera down. It's cool that they included it. I don't care for it, but it's there if you want to have it displayed all killed like this, disembodied essentially. Again, that's your choice. It is almost Halloween. We're in the month of October at this point. But yeah, that's obviously your choice, your prerogative. I'm personally not going to do it. So yeah, again, I'm glad that they added it. It's not my thing, but hey, they added it. Cool gimmick. And finally, for his last gimmick, I don't know if I said last one, but if I did, I didn't mean for that to be the last one. The last one is this. So if you come here to the chest, we're going to do this. If you come here to the chest, what's pretty cool is if you just remove these, take this section, lift it up, bam! He's got a matrix chamber, which is really cool, and he's got his own little matrix of leadership. And as per usual, you can actually take this thing out. Luckily, I have fingernails this time around, but you can take it out. Looks very nice. I mean, nothing too special, just a nice matrix of leadership. And he can hold it. It's just really difficult. So let me fold all this back up like so. Very easy, and then you can just snap these into place. He can hold it. It is decently difficult because he is a big chonky boy, a big thick boy. So if I do this, you can put it here through his fingers. So I'll show this in the articulation. But you can have him hold it. It's a bit difficult here. Yeah, it is a bit difficult here. Yeah, it's a little difficult here. He can hold it. It's just a bit unfortunate I can't get it to happen in this. It really sucks because I don't want to force anything, but he can hold it with both of his hands. It's just, yeah, it's a bit difficult because he's so big. I wish that they would make him a bigger one because it would have made it way easier. Whoops, it would have made it way easier to actually do that. But just to do that, you can just very easily do that and just springboard and then just put that back into place. Like, there we go. Got it. Like so. Very easily close it up like that. And that is about it for that. Alrighty then, the last part about Magnus, this has been a long review, guys, is his articulation. So, getting into his articulation, his head is on the ball joint, so you can get a full range of motion, get a full 360. You can look down about that far. You can look up with the joint that he has. You can look up decently far as well. For the arms, they are in ratchets, really hard ratchets, so you do a full 360 with these. You can go in, you can go out. And then you can rotate at the upper part of the bicep, and then you do have a 90-degree bend at the elbow. It is a bit of a shame, but he is a big chunky boy, so at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Now, I do have a little bit of an issue, is that I don't like how this is designed, because trying to articulate it, sometimes you end up getting and screwing this up by just accidentally pulling on the actual transformation part, but whatever. For the waist, you do get a full 360 at the waist, which is crazy, and I absolutely love that. The skirt armor all lift up in the back as well, even the butt flap does too. And then for the kicks, you get, whoops, you get a kick forward about that far, you get a kick back about that far, then you do have an upper thigh swivel here, and then you do have about 90 degrees there at the leg. So you do have some really nice oh, and then the ankles do have a little pivot. Even though this guy doesn't seem like he's super articulated, at the end of the day, he actually is, and you can actually get this guy in some pretty damn cool poses, just even with the articulation that he has and how big he is. I think that this guy is very well articulated for how big he actually is. So some really cool stuff with this guy. And so the final part of this video is the reverse transformation. And so for the reverse transformation, what I like to do is take these missiles and you can remove them. Very easily do that. So for the reverse transformation, straighten this guy out. So I like to do, straighten this guy out. And then what you can do here, start off with these wheels. You can end up pushing them down like so. This is how I like to keep them for the vehicle mode. Do that. It's a very, very good stuff. Then what you can do next, you can sandwich these legs together. Actually, excuse me. Accordion this back, then accordion this forward, and then again, there's a significant difference between this leg and this leg. So do the same here. Accordion this forward, and accordion this back. And then you should have his short legs. Then after this, you can take these sections and just rotate them back like so. And then you can plug this all up together like that. Now, at the top of the body here, what I like to do is you can untab these, pull these out, and accordion them all the way. Take the arms, rotate them up. You can fold this out, fold that around. Then what I like to do, so make sure that the hands here are as fully closed as possible, because what ends up happening is sometimes you get in these states where you'll accordion this, so you have to flip this and then accordion it over the hand. Sometimes the hand doesn't exactly like to fit super well, which as you can see it's doing that right now. And then you just close that and tab that into place. But again, see, because I didn't have it like perfect, it doesn't exactly like to close the best. There we go. So we got it there. So very, very nice. Same thing on the other side. So all you got to do, take the section, rotate it up like so. Then what you can do, take this forearm, unfold it, then accordion this all the way up. Again, make sure the fingers are all scrunched in as much as possible. Fold this in, fold that in like so. Takes, again, a little bit of doing, like that. There we go. You can keep the stuff like this. Back up to his body. So next thing I like to do is you can take this entire section and untab it, the chest section. Then you can take the back and rotate it upwards like so, and untab this section as well. Take the chest, rotate it around like that. And then what you can do, rotate this and sort of fold these up, get these out of the way, just give you some clearance. Then what you can do is take these sections that tabbed into the shoulders here, and then you just fold them in, both on each side, as much as possible. And this is on a double joint, so what you got to do is fold this out, like, and rotate it like that, so that these parts are underneath, the shoulder bits are underneath this entire panel. And then what you can do is fold out this panel here, sort of fold it out, like sort of rotate this, because there's a lot of moving parts at the upper part of the body here. And then what you can do, let me change my camera angle here. What you can do after this is you sort of take the head section and you just sort of push it back like that. And then take the wheels and fold them in like that. Then what you can do after this is, because this is folded and it's got out of place a little bit, what I like to do is take these sections and fold them, and then essentially they'll just tab into place like this on this side as well. Take this entire section, fold it, and then this will all tab into place. And you basically can, at this point, lay this guy down on his bed. The other thing you have to do is you take this panel and you fold it down. Well, there's that. But what I'll show you is that there's like two tabs in here. It's really weird, but there's two tabs that his face cheeks will essentially just peg into. So you just gotta sort of push this all in. And yes, damn it, this part came off. And there you go. You just tab it in like that. Nothing too crazy. Then you can take these wheels and fold them out, and then we'll just come in and reattach this to the actual cab. And I'll bring the camera back down. So essentially at this point, what you're going to do is lay this truck out, then take these sections that were used for the chest and you fold them up on each side, like so. And then what you can do is you take this waist section, fold it in until you hear it click or snap, essentially, into place, like so. Then finally, next you can take these sections, pull them forward on either side, like that. Rotate this all the way up. Then take this section and accordion it and rotate it all the way back like this. And you can just, there's essentially what you'll notice is there's a tab in there, and then this is a hole in this section, so you just gotta tab this into place like this. Do the same thing here. Rotate this up. Rotate this all the way around. And then these parts, as you can see, there's 2 tabs, and then there's a 3rd tab on this side, and then you just gotta sort of scrunch them together. And then what you'll notice is these parts back here, there's also a hole right there, and then there's a tab right there, so you just gotta tab those into place as well. Tab those together. This is the most finicky part of the transformation, in my opinion. Just tab them into place like that. Make sure that they're all straight. Like that. And finally, all you have to do is flip this panel up, rotate it around, and that'll snap into place there. Do the same thing on this side, there. And then take these sections, fold them down, like so. And then what you'll do on the bottom here, snap this into place. And ladies and gentlemen, last part of the transformation is to take this, pull it forward. Now you can twist them around. You can take these missiles and obviously place them here like this. And there we have Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus back in his truck mode. And so, guys, at the end of the day, what do I think of the Studio Series 86 Transformers Commander Class Ultra Magnus? This is a pretty fantastic figure. Obviously there's contentions about his scale and stuff like that, and I can totally see and I understand that those are valid. But at the end of the day, I gotta say that this guy is the definitive Ultra Magnus for me, and I hope he is for a lot of you too. Paint, details, accessories, everything is really, really nice on this guy. At the end of the day, I do think that the Armada Optimus Prime, the Commander class, is the better figure. I mean, it's got the super mode. I think you get more bang for your buck with that guy. I think he's pretty good all around. I think he's just better than Ultra Magnus here. I honestly think he's kind of like a 9.5 out of 10 if I had to rate Armada Prime. For this guy, I personally will give this guy probably a 9, probably like an 8.5, a 9 out of 10. A little bit of the QC issues. Some things don't like snapping together all that well, but he's hefty, he's big, he's correct paint colors, he's got light piping, awesome accessories, awesome gimmicks. He has a matrix of leadership. Articulation is also fantastic. All around, this is a fantastic figure. So if you want to pick yours up, I will leave a link. I believe I picked mine up on Big Bad Toy Store. I'll leave a link to that in the description, as well as Hasbro Pulse and Amazon. Hopefully they still have him in stock. And with that, guys, yeah, that's about all I have to say for Ultra Magnus. I definitely recommend you guys pick this guy up. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. And also follow me on the socials linked in the description below. And with that, guys, I hope we all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. You take it easy, guys. Peace.